So, hello, Carol.
Hello, Daryl.
It is the month of August.
It is the month of August.
And we are getting in our refried scenes.
That's right.
Have we ever done one of these, like, not in the very last week of the month?
Yeah, I mean, last month, I think we did it in the second or third week.
Oh, look at us all on time and whatnot. Yeah, yeah.
Of course, we cheated this morning.
You're just going to put it right on the table at the very beginning of the show.
Look, I tried. I tried watching Rollerball. I tried. I guess I just wasn't in the right mindset for a 1970s dystopian roller derby movie.
I would love to know what the mindset is for that kind of thing.
I think
you have
alcohol
to watch it,
needs to be involved.
You got to watch it after Running Man is the only way to get
and I even tried the remake, and I got like 10 minutes into each of them, and I was just like...
And I got the odd text. And you're like, hey,
can we roll again?
Which, thank you for that, by the way. Because I have been dreading watching these movies.
So, I rolled again and got number 12, which was Murder on the Orient Express.
Much better.
Much better, yes.
This is our second reroll, by the way.
Was it? Did we we rolled Ocean's 11 once, and I couldn't do Rat Pack.
I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do Rat Pack.
I'm determined. I hope December, the very last time we do this, you roll that Oceans.
We roll the Oceans. So we rolled Murder on the Orient Express, which I was kind of happy. And oddly, it was oddly timely because they just released, was it a trailer for Death on the Nile? Yeah, the trailer
on Death on the Nile in theaters October 23rd.
Hopefully.
Well, hey, man, if New Mutants and Tenet comes out, then I assume stuff's coming back out.
Yeah, they're not doing Tenet at the drive-in. I may have to buckle and just wrap myself in bubble wrap and go to a movie theater.
I bought my tickets. I did it.
I'm going to. I'm like, I miss the theater so much. I have to go.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, outside of home, I've been to work where there's really nobody else but like two other people who sit like 60 feet away. Groceries, the occasional trip to Total Wine, and that's it for the last, X amount of months. So I deserve something too. Just something.
I don't even go to work. I go to work in the living room.
You go to work in sweatpants.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 5 of my 7, well, it feels like, actually, I do work 7 days a week sometimes. 5 of my 7 is usually at home. And then my other 2, Friday and Saturday, I go into work. So I feel like I've earned at least one. And I'm going to go see Tenet and maybe New Mutants too.
I probably will see both because I just need a new movie.
Yeah.
I need a new movie.
I need something. I need to inject it right into the vein. You really could just, if it was Jackass 4, I'd be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go see a Jackass movie. If that's what we got, that's what we got.
If it's in a theater and I'm sitting there in a movie theater seat, I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Pretty much. But we rolled Murder on the Orient Express timely because Death on the Nile is coming out. So do you want to get into it?
Sure. 1974, directed by Sidney Lumet.
Yeah.
Is it Lumet?
Lumet.
I don't know why I think Lumet. Maybe because it looks French.
It looks French. Did Sidney Lumet also do 12 Angry Men?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
And Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, the Pacino. Yes. Yeah.
Which changed forever my view of Chris Sarandon.
And if you've never seen 12 Angry Men, my word, one of the best one-setting movies of all time.
That's actually on our list. Because there is a remake.
Wait, what's the remake? There's a remake?
There's a remake of 12 Angry Men. Somebody thought it was a good idea.
Criterion does not like this.
No. But I agree. That is a brilliant film. Wow, that was loud.
Somebody's motorcycling away to go find the remake of 12 Angry Men. What? Someone did it? What? Punch it.
Who did it? Okay, so this is, of course, based on the book by Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
And stars Albert Finney as Hercule Poirot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only time he played Poirot.
As far as I know, I'm pretty sure that's the only time. And what a weird Poirot he is.
He is. He has very odd mannerisms.
Yes.
I will say, because I went through a phase when I was a teenager where I just read all of Christie.
Yeah.
And I obsessed over everything.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I think if you're looking physically for the person who fits the bill for Poirot, you're going David Suchet on the BBC adaptations.
That's what a lot of people say.
here, Albert Finney, he scrunches himself up trying to make himself look smaller because he wasn't a small guy.
No.
And it just looks uncomfortable.
Yeah, a lot of shoulders about the ear area. A lot of like the neck is pulled in.
There's like triple chins going on there, and he wasn't a fat man either at this point in his career. I mean, he got a bit hefty in the later years, but that was alcohol. He was British.
Well, they was Scrooge, all right? He's allowed to drink.
Oh, man. That's my favorite Christmas Carol adaptation is Scrooge.
Is his?
Is his. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a musical.
It's going to be Muppets for me.
Well, that one is a very, very close second.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Albert Finney as Hercule Poirot, and then a huge cast.
Yeah, a whole bunch of. Oh, I recognize that guy. Right?
Yeah, this is the 1970s where you had like little boxes of all the stars at the bottom of the movie poster. An all-star cast.
Yeah.
You've got Lauren Bacall.
Yeah.
Vanessa Redgrave, Jacqueline Bisset, John Gielgud.
Michael York, my man. York. Yeah, D'Artagnan.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, is Three Musketeers on our list?
No, but that should be. Yeah, okay. That will take the place of 12 Angry Men, so we don't have to watch the horrible.
There we go.
So if we roll 12 Angry Men today, we're going to do the Three Musketeers.
All right, 12 Angry Three Musketeers.
12 Angry Three Musketeers.
There's approximately 36 Musketeers out there. And they're angry.
So you have this huge, also Anthony Perkins is in there. There's guys just like everybody.
Dude, Anthony Perkins is doing his best Johnny Carson in this movie.
Oh my God. He's so dweebish here.
Yeah, because this is nothing Anthony Perkins
and
I know.
This is Norman Bates I'm talking about. He put the dweeb in dweebish. So we start off with a backstory. We get the story of Daisy Armstrong, which is basically based on the Lindbergh case where a young child, Daisy Armstrong, is kidnapped.
Right on.
And her very rich parents pay the ransom, and then she's found dead several days later.
Which is also the basis of Perry Mason on HBO.
Yes.
Yes.
So we get this. I actually think the opening scene of this movie is quite brilliant because there's no narration or anything.
This is all like newspaper flashes.
Newspaper flashes, some little bits of film, and just a really eerie soundtrack over the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It's very effective.
Yeah.
And it tells you the whole story. It tells you everything you need to know about Daisy Armstrong. What you don't know is what the hell does that have to do with the Orient Express?
Right.
We're about to tell you. Because then we meet Hercule Poirot, who is just done with... he's done with a case, and I can't remember the book that it was based on. I remember the case in question now. But he is leaving Istanbul to go back to London.
So is the way his joints are set up, is it just like, I finished this case, I'm out of here, and on his way, he just gets the next case, and he's
Usually.
like, I'm done, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and then somebody else will go, but Poirot, we need you here.
Okay.
So he is urgently called to London and decides he's going to take the Orient Express.
Yeah.
And he meets up with a friend of his, Mr. Bianchi. Yeah. Which is played by Martin Balsam. Very stereotypical Italian performance here.
Pretty much.
Which is odd because they actually changed the name from the book. The name in the remake is correct. Here they change it to Bianchi. I'm not quite sure why.
Well, weird directorial decision.
Yeah, because Martin Balsam isn't even Italian.
Nope. Nope. Sure isn't.
But he meets his friend Bianchi, and there's many yes, as they eat their dinner.
I'm born in the Bronx, so he's probably been around a good number of Italians.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
And then Poirot is informed that there's no berth available on the Orient Express. It is booked solid.
Yeah, which is weird for this time of year.
Middle of winter.
Yeah.
And but Bianchi he's a director of the line. He's going to get him on somehow, and he finds him a berth above Anthony Perkins, who is Mr. McQueen, who is there with Mr. Ratchet.
Mr. Ratchet.
The scene of everyone going on the train, because you have 12 characters. Well, you have 13 characters, including Michael York. Everyone here acts so suspiciously.
They really do. Really do.
Mr. Ratchet shows up with Hector, who is his secretary, and Beddoes, who is his servant, who is John Gielgud.
Beddoes,
Yes, and John Gielgud just looks suspiciously at Poirot. And
A lot of like looking around before they board and hop on the plane.
Anthony Perkins is checking with the conductor, and he's like, "So the berth above me is as arranged, yes."
Yeah, like, come on, guys.
Could you have done that any more flagrantly? Oh, and we miss on the way to the train. Poirot overhears a conversation between Mary Debenham and Colonel Arbuthnot, who are two other passengers, where they're obviously in love. And
something's happening between the two of those guys. No, wait till it's all over.
This is all over. When it's done, when it's finished, then we can.
Also, a great bit of comedy in that scene with him and the guy who was taking him to the train. Oh, it's a great place. You've been there. Well, no.
Oh, you have driven the ferry. No. Very British.
There's some weird bits of comedy in this movie that I really like.
There is, yeah. I hope it's okay if we booked you on the British side of the city. I have no problem with either country. So he overhears Sean Connery and Vanessa Redgrave chit-chatting, and they're on board. You have Ingrid Bergman as a missionary who speaks very, very bad English.
Yeah, right on.
And Lauren Bacall as Mrs. Hubbard, very loud and boisterous, and just the type of character that Lauren Bacall basically always played. Brassy.
Very, very Lauren Bacall in this movie.
Very Lauren Bacall, yes. You have a few side characters, too. You've got like an Italian car salesman. Again, I don't think he's played by an Italian.
No. He looks like he's played by a bad Bond henchman.
Oh, gosh, what was his name? Dennis Quiley. Dennis Quiley as Foscarelli.
I remember looking that dude up, and I was like,
he was English. He's freaking English. Oh, he was in La Cage aux Folles. Anyway, probably wearing a dress. And then you have... and shout out to Pierre, the conductor, because Pierre checks in people in 4 different languages here.
Yes, I noticed that. And I was like, oh, this dude's on top of his game.
Yeah, he speaks German and French and English and Russian. To the Princess Dragomirov, who's there with her German lady in waiting. Well, it's not really lady in waiting. It's kind of lady's maid. That's what she is.
There
lady's maid. Very regal Princess Dragomirov, who never smiles because her doctor told her it.
What did she say that line? Whatever that line was.
The doctor advised against it.
The humor in this movie is just so odd and weird and pudding. I don't even know that's supposed to, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a funny line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's just so weird.
So they're all on the train, and Poirot shares a berth with Anthony Perkins for one night, and then Bianchi gives him his room in first class.
Where does Bianchi go?
He goes into the dining car with the Greek doctor.
Yeah.
So he's basically just sitting in the dining car all night.
Okay, yeah.
But it's the nice thing to do. They're friends. Yeah. He's the director of the line. You give the guy your room.
Yeah. Good business. Good business.
Good business. But when he moves to the new room, that night, strange things happen. First, Ratchet talks to him over dinner and says he offers to hire him as a bodyguard because he's getting threatening letters.
Mm-hmm.
And Poirot, who just doesn't like the look of the man, says no.
Pretty much. He's a very blunt, direct person in this scene.
He's like, I have the ability to pick and choose my cases, and I choose not to pick yours.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the luxury to choose your jobs, and something smells a little bit weird, and that one definitely smells a little bit weird.
Yeah, so...
Smart man.
That night, he goes to sleep, and you get to see some of the mannerisms of Hercule Poirot, because this is from the books where he wears gloves and he has the little mustache net and the hair nets, and he's very fastidious.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
But in the middle of the night, he's awakened by Ratchet screaming or yelling out, and then telling Pierre in French that's a key point. That he had a nightmare, and then he goes back to bed, and then someone knocks on his door, and he opens the door, and it's this woman walking away in a red kimono.
Which, to be completely honest, this is my 3rd time seeing this movie, and I'm still not sure what the red kimono has to do with anything. So I'm going to need you to fill me in on
that. Total red herring. It is just to throw him off his game.
Oh, Well, then I would have been thrown off my game. I am not Hercule Poirot.
Yeah, and then he is awakened by the fact that the train has stopped moving because they are stuck in a snowbank.
Right.
And then the next morning, Beddoes goes to Ratchet's compartment with his morning pick-me-up. Your Amber Moon, sir.
I need to get me on some Amber Moons immediately.
I actually tried an Amber Moon based solely on this movie.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
Oh.
An Amber Moon is kind of supposed to be a hangover cure.
Yeah. That's
It's
what
a raw egg,
Oh.
vodka, and Tabasco.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not terrible.
So it's like if you can't get access to a Bloody Mary,
Right.
this is what you have.
This is what you do. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a shot of protein and a little bit of the hair of the dog that bit you so you can get over your hangover.
Yeah.
Because apparently Ratchet takes valerian at night
Mm-hmm.
to put himself to sleep. And then the Amber Moon in the morning to wake himself up.
This dude's just a chemical dependency.
Yes. I also like how when he went to bed, he brushed his teeth and gargled and then stuck a stogie rack in his mouth. Jude, you just undid any good you did.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, wait a minute.
So he goes to give him his Amber Moon, but he's not answering. And Poirot immediately knows that something's up.
Right.
So he has Pierre open the door with his pass key. And the doors change and they bust in and Ratchet is dead.
Dead.
And they go and get the Greek doctor. And I love this Albert Einstein looking Greek doctor.
He's a great character in this joint.
He has nothing to do but just kind of follow Poirot around and I don't know.
Answer his questions.
Answer questions.
Yeah.
But he comes in and he counts, he's been stabbed 12 times. 3 of which are lethal, 2 are but mere scratches.
Right. And it lets you know that there's some inconsistency to the
Right.
stabbing going on here.
Yeah. And then Poirot looks around the room and there is a just mountain of clues everywhere.
Evidence everywhere.
There's a lady's handkerchief with an H on it. There's a pipe cleaner. There's a burnt up note in an ashtray.
Mm-hmm.
They smell a barbiturates in the valerian glass, so they know that Ratchet was drugged before anything happened. And even Poirot is like, gentlemen, there are too many clues in this room.
Which I assume I attribute that to the beginning of his thought process
Right.
and his processing of information, because I know I do that sometimes. But what I don't understand is, if you're listening to this, you probably already seen it. Yeah. So they all are in on it, with the exception of Poirot, his friend, and the doc, right?
Right.
Not knowing that Poirot was going to be, he's the fly in the ointment.
Yeah.
So they kind of have to improvise as they go.
Right.
But at what point someone's like, if we leave a bunch of our personal clues, he'll be thrown off the entire trail and he'll suspect all of us, which makes no sense.
Right. And I think that's their point here, because their main, and we'll get to it in a moment, their main alibi is going to be the Wagon Lee conductor suit.
Yes.
Somebody came onto the train, killed Ratchet, left the train, and he was disguised as a Wagon Lee conductor, and that's how he got in and out.
And it's the middle of a snowstorm. He dipped out, never to be seen again. Froze to death somewhere else.
Right. And everybody else, we've all got alibis because I had a toothache, and this person.
Yeah. I was talking with this person in this car, and another person didn't cooperate.
Mrs. Hubbard also wakes up Poirot during that night by saying that there was a man in her room. Yeah. Yes. So, which comes into play because obviously that was the person dressed as the Wagon Lee conductor, and that's how he left.
Yeah.
So Poirot, it's nice because Bianchi's like, you have to solve this case before we get out of the snow. If we can just hand this solved case to the police, everything would be much better.
Which in the remake, I like that character's reasoning much
better.
More.
Yeah. Here it's just like, could we just do this, please? And I like the fact that Albert Finney's Poirot was like, okay, get me this and this and this. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, because I feel like Albert Finney's Poirot was like, all right, my friend's asking me for a favor, I'll do it. Whereas the remake, the guy's like, all right,
these clues, and I really want to know why.
Yeah.
So he gets passports from everybody, and he sits down to speak with everybody, and he speaks with Mr. McQueen first, who is Ratchet's secretary, and he tells him he's been getting threatening letters, And that's, he wasn't a very nice man.
This is where I was like, Anthony Perkins is really doing his best Johnny Carson right here.
And then
I don't know. I'm just telling you, this whole thing's weird.
Yeah, and then Poirot uses an old-style lady's hat box to read what is on the burnt paper.
I don't think that science plays out.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
In either version, actually.
Just in general, that science is
less
not.
in the remake because it lasts so much longer.
The whole paragraph he used to write down.
Here it's just a few letters. It's just AISYARMS for Daisy Armstrong. And at that point, Poirot kind of puts the pieces together and figures out who Ratchet is.
Because this is just a couple of months?
This is 5 years after.
Okay, I thought it was 5 months after.
No.
I don't know why Daisy Armstrong is so fresh in his brain.
I think it's because it was like the Lindbergh case where it was national headlines. Plus, so much tragedy happened to the family after.
Yeah, the news probably just kept coming out.
So Poirot deduces that Ratchet was actually Cassetti, who masterminded the kidnapping and killing of Daisy Armstrong. And when Daisy Armstrong died, her mother collapsed, went into premature labor, and died.
Dad killed him? Killed himself?
Dad killed himself.
Yeah.
A maid who was accused killed herself.
That's right.
So there's like all this tragedy on the Armstrong family. And he goes back to speak to McQueen again and tells him that we figured this out. And McQueen immediately goes, yeah, I knew the Armstrongs.
He gave up the game.
Dude.
Gave up the whole game.
Yeah, Mother Armstrong.
Right?
It's very...
She was going to make me a star.
It's kind of creepy. I do like what they did with McQueen in the remake a lot better than they did here, because this comes across as just kind of creepy.
Yeah, his motivation, I think, is the weakest.
Is the weakest.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, if I had known that he was that man, I would have cut off my right hand so I couldn't take his letters. And then stabbed him with my left.
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right. This is a dude investigating the case. You're a suspect. What are you doing?
And he leaves, and Bianchi's
Use that left hand to dig yourself a hole.
He leaves, and Bianchi's like, he did it. He basically admitted it. Every person he speaks to, they did it.
They did it.
And the weird thing is, he's right.
I never thought about it like that.
But he interviews each person, and each person suddenly has this
airtight
connection,
alibi, or
not an alibi, and a connection to the Armstrong family.
Yeah, which a lot of them just kind of willingly admit.
Yeah. It's just a wild coincidence that we're all here.
Played pinochle on Thursdays.
Yeah, they try and hide it. Like Arbuthnot says, no, we didn't. Me and Colonel Armstrong didn't mingle.
Yeah, we're both military men, but
we didn't mingle. And some people try and hide the fact that, but Poirot just basically knows that each of these people was either a member of the Armstrong household or is related in some way.
Yeah.
To the Armstrongs, the Countess and the Count, which is Jacqueline Bisset and Michael York.
My man, Mike York.
Just so much in love. And she has such a fabulous wardrobe. Damn.
I feel like they definitely get the least amount of screen time in all this, because they just disappear for 20, 30 minutes at a time.
And then he goes to speak to them, and they do the whole bit where her name is Helena, and because he's found a handkerchief with the letter H, they try and blotch her passports to make it Helena.
And I was like, you know what? Thinking on the fly, fair. I'll give you points for attempting.
Yeah.
Sloppy, but fair.
Yeah. But it's when he interviews the Princess Dragomirov that everything seems to click into place, because she's the godmother of Sonia Armstrong, who is Daisy's mother.
Right.
And her answers are just so blatant bullshit.
Bad. I mean, and she's an old lady, man. She can't think on her feet like that. She wasn't expecting
so
this
she's like, oh, I didn't know the name of the younger sister. Yeah. Okay.
So if you're involved enough to be a godmother, you're gonna know
the name of the younger sister.
Yeah.
And she, the Countess's maiden name is Grunwald. So she says that her name is Greenwood, which is just Americanization.
Yeah, pretty much.
And she's like, oh, we didn't mingle. I didn't mingle with the other household staff, and nobody knows. I didn't know any names, so I don't know if he had a chauffeur. It's very
thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she tells him that she became Sonia's godmother because she was good friends with Linda Arden, who was Sonia's mother,
Sonia's mom.
was a stage actress.
Yeah.
And why have you brought these daggers to me? Is that an accusation or a quote?
I like the way he trips up old Grunwald with the, he throws that little line in there, like, I used to, they love you cooking on. She's like, well, you know.
All my ladies say so.
Ooh. He just gives that little knowing look and wobbles off.
He has a nose for a cook. So yes, he traps them little bits. He traps Mary Demenham. You know, she says she's never been to America, but then she uses the phrase long distance call to call my lawyers.
So the trunk call, I'll get you.
Trunk call for your solicitors. So he basically pieces together that all of these people are, you know, tight with the Armstrong family.
Yeah,
and then they find a Wagonly conductor. Mrs. Hubbard finds a button in her cabin from the person who was there. Then she finds a dagger. She's just finding all of the stuff.
Clues, evidence.
And then they find the actual conductor's outfit. And when they talk to Farrelly, he's like, "Oh, he's mafioso. Another mafioso killed him."
You know what? Which you tried.
Yeah,
you tried.
Yeah. So in the end, Poirot gathers them all together in one of the cars and says, "Look, we have two options here. Option number one, a member of the mafia came on dressed as a Wagonly conductor, killed him,
and dipped out.
Killed him, shed a button, dropped his knife in a makeup bag, and left the train." And killed him in such a way that he's stabbing hard and then really not. Maybe he just lost momentum.
He got tired halfway through.
Cleaned his pipe while he was there.
But now that that's over.
And that's your first choice. Second choice is that everyone in the car did it.
Right.
Pierre was the father of the maid who killed herself. So he set everything up. And they all took turns and stabbed him. Yeah,
each get one a little sympathy for Lady Vengeance in there. You get
and I love the scene where they kill him is actually kind of creepy because it's done with blue light and there's just this kind of creepy soundtrack in it. But I love
that sound effect.
You can tell which three were lethal because that German maid. John Gielgud twists the knife.
Yeah, a couple of them got a little too into it. Hey, whoa, wait, hey, we're just here to kill the guy. Calm down.
So they all took turns and they all stabbed him once, and then they tried to just throw clues at Poirot to trip him up. As the Greek doctor said. Perhaps they just didn't realize you would be on board.
I mean, yeah, and he's right. He's right. Look, man, we had to scramble at the last moment.
So, and in the end, Poirot leaves it up to Bianchi. You choose.
This is your railroad.
Yeah, this is your railroad. You choose which version you want to tell the police. And he says, for my choice, I like the simplicity of number one.
Bianchi's like, one has way less paperwork than two does.
We have the conductor's uniform. There must have been a body in it.
Right on. Yeah.
So they all did it, and they all get away with it.
They all get away with it, man. But, man, I wonder, if they had all did it and got away with it, I'm sure they'd be like, we didn't get away with it. But now there's someone out there that knows they did it. I wonder if that would change how you would feel about this whole thing. We did it. But I kind of feel like a piece of shit.
I like the fact, because they find out that Mrs. Hubbard is, in fact, Linda Arden, who was the actress and the mother of Sophia and everything. She orchestrated all of it. And in the end, they all, toast.
That's right. They all clink, clink, clink.
Yeah,
it's her they're all toasting, though,
yeah,
right?
They're all toasting her and her younger daughter, Jacqueline Bisset. And, some of them you can tell are kind of... Ingrid Bergman's character is... She's probably made her peace with God because she found God after Daisy died, and she's probably begged forgiveness or whatever, and she could get over it. Some of them, Vanessa Redgrave's just like, yeah, we did it.
Tap dance off the screen.
Oh, and I get to go home with Sean Connery.
He was a good man.
So, and that's the end of the movie. They get away with it, and that's what they tell the police that they.
Yeah, they got away with it. And then that brings us to the remake.
The remake. So when this was announced, I actually was very excited because I think Kenneth Branagh is actually a talented director.
I mean, besides Thor and Thor 2.
I like Thor.
Okay. All right.
Did he direct Thor 2?
No, he's just Thor 1. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like Thor.
Okay.
And I think people forget he did actually give us Chris Hemsworth as Thor and Tom Hiddleston as
Yeah, that's true. He did grace the world with those two beefs of hunk.
So, and I think with the right material, he's actually a really good director.
Give him some Shakespeare, man.
Give him some Shakespeare, and he's terrific. I think Henry V is still.
Yep.
I love that movie. I think it's brilliant. I think his Much Ado About Nothing is, with the exception of a couple performances, brilliant. He has a problem with trying to cast American actors in Shakespeare, and sometimes like Michael Keaton works. Robert Sean Leonard does not work in that movie in the slightest. But so I was actually quite interested to see what he would do with Agatha Christie, because I think this is probably material he would do very well with.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah. When he cast himself as Poirot, I was like, well, it's his thing.
But then again, I'm like, yeah, who else are you going to get for this Poirot?
I forgave it because he does like to star in his own movies.
That makes sense.
I suppose he couldn't, star as Thor, so.
But damn it, he tried. Put a blonde wig on, walk to the casting. Sit down, Kenneth.
He put a blonde wig on, but he couldn't put a wig on for this damn movie, no. Because the first thing I notice is that his hair and his mustache are two radically different colors.
Yes, they are.
And I'm like, they couldn't dye his hair? What?
He was thinking such trivial things.
Oh my God. It drove me nuts the entire film.
That's what drove you nuts, huh?
That was part one of what drove me nuts. When I saw this in the theater, I remember leaving very disappointed.
And me too, likewise.
When I rewatched it, I kind of figured out why I was disappointed. It's like this is such a dour film. It's a bummer. Because when you talk about the 74 version, yes, it involves the kidnapping and murder of a child and 12 people brutally killing a guy.
Yeah.
But there's humor there.
Yeah, little odd bits.
Odd bits of humor.
Not a whole lot.
And there's a lightness to it that I think works well with Christie. You can't make Christie super, super heavy.
Yeah, I think Lumet has a little bit of, we're having fun, aren't we?
Yeah.
In his movie.
And nobody's having fun here. It's just like...
I think Kenneth Branagh was having fun, and he's the only person who was having fun.
But even his Poirot is just like, oh, my lost love.
Yeah, there's also that.
And there's just, because it follows basically the same plot, you don't get the background information on Daisy Armstrong until well into the film, which I don't think works in its favor. Because if you haven't read the book, or if you haven't seen the first film, you're wondering, well, what?
Who is this, and what are they all connected by?
Yeah. So because that first film did such a great job telling that little story in the first 5 minutes, here it's all just people extrapolating. Oh, do you remember that case?
Yes, there's a lot of that.
And that doesn't quite work as well. He also makes some changes, minor changes, like Ingrid Bergman's character is now played by Penelope Cruz, so she's got to have a Hispanic name.
Yeah, the doctor who helps him in the original is now part of everything.
Right.
In this one.
It's not Colonel Arbuthnot, it's Dr. Arbuthnot.
Yeah.
The Greek doctor
Colonel.
is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
The Count now somehow knows karate and is roundhouse kicking paparazzi at the beginning.
Because why not?
I'm like, what the hell?
Because why not?
And Poirot is mostly kind of like, he's not as quirky as Albert Finney. He's just kind of OCD.
Yeah, the whole straighten your tie.
Straighten your tie. My eggs must be the same size type thing. It was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I think I prefer Finney's Poirot over this Poirot.
Which is sad, because I think Finney's Poirot is not perfect, because there are so many weird mannerisms that it's almost distracting. Here, I almost want some of those weird mannerisms because this Poirot, and he doesn't like deduct anything. He waits until people basically tell him.
Yeah, I guess you're kind of right. I never even thought about it.
He
like
doesn't
that.
really, because I think Finney's Poirot pretty much knows that everyone here did it. He's just looking for the why and the how.
Yeah.
Branagh's Poirot, up until the very end, where out of nowhere there's a freaking gun battle.
That is what I was like, what? Who's shooting at Poirot? Why?
Why? Why is there a gunfight in my Poirot?
I feel like Hollywood's like, we need to throw a little bit of action.
Yeah, and then you have the whole Last Supper with everyone's lined up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. Because they're like shuffling people in and out of the train, because the train here actually goes off track rather than just runs into a snowbank.
Avalanche.
Yeah. I do like what they did with McQueen. I think Josh Gad's McQueen has a better story here.
I think that's the best improvement in this whole thing.
Because now it's not just like, I have a crush on this woman. His dad was actually the prosecutor who prosecuted the maid who killed herself and then was just butchered by the press afterwards for getting the wrong person.
Right.
Basically. Johnny Depp's Ratchet is...
Love it. I love it.
You liked it.
I love it. It's Johnny Depp just finally fucking acting for once without any kind of goofy makeup.
I wish we almost had more of him.
Right?
Because you have quite a bit of Richard Widmark in the first film. Here you don't have a whole lot of Johnny Depp's Ratchet.
And I think at the time, with the public's opinion, especially when the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard business going on, that's a perfect cast.
Yeah.
It's somebody you already don't like in the public eye. Let's put him in a role that you're not going to like him in.
And this is weirdly, it's PG-13, but I don't think there's any less blood in this one than in the 74 version, which is weird. There's not a whole lot
that would make it PG. I don't remember any swear words, not a whole lot of blood, not a nipple to be seen.
No. And it's just, there's the changes that were made. Like, Ratchet's probably better cast because Richard Widmark was kind of there in the first one. Yeah. But he was a body that was going to get stabbed. They needed a little bit more Johnny Depp here. I like what they did with Josh Gad. I didn't even mind what they did with Colonel Arbuthnot. But Penelope Cruz is wasted.
Wasted.
Even Michelle Pfeiffer as Mrs. Hubbard is basically wasted. She doesn't have as much screen time as Lauren Bacall.
No, but I do like what we get of her.
Yeah, she's Michelle Pfeiffer, but there's so much emphasis placed on Daisy Ridley, and I understand why, because
you got the Force Awakens.
Yeah, she was a big thing. She was Star Wars at that point, but her character is very minor in the book and in the first film,
and also just very whack in this. Like, you want me to tell you answers? I'm not going to tell you anything.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's just, and there's just very little detecting here. It's just everything just kind of falls into place for him. And then at the very end, you have this weird scene where everyone's lined up in the Last Supper tableau and Poirot gives his two versions.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, he's going to tell the police that you guys did it all because I'm on the side of justice. And if you want to stop me, you have to kill me.
Which is a little bit odd.
And I'm like, what? And Michelle Pfeiffer picks up the gun.
Yeah, she's like, I'll kill me.
And of course, the gun isn't loaded or anything. And then, of course, he has a change of heart. And he tells the police it was
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Also, I think a better change is his friend in this.
Yeah.
That might be the best change. That's the most entertaining change.
Is it more? Yeah, far better because Martin Balsam's fine, but it's an incredibly stereotypical Italian portrayal in the first one for no reason because the character isn't Italian in the book.
Right.
so that was a good change. I don't understand Willem Dafoe's character in this one. He plays
Pinkerton.
Yeah, he was the Pinkerton dude who was in love with the maid that killed herself. He's very minor in the first film.
Yeah, that's because that's your used car salesman.
Yeah.
And here he's
a German physicist.
Yeah.
A racist German physicist, but that's just all a portrayal because I don't know why. Because Poirot's on is it because Poirot is on the train or was he going to be that German? But that's how he checked in. So it's not like,
Do we see him on the check-in?
well, we didn't get we don't get the check-in scene like we do in the first film, where each character comes up to Pierre.
Yeah.
And Pierre here is the sister rather than the father of the maid because he's a young dude. And I was like, whoa, how old were you, monsieur? But there's minor changes. I think my main problem with this is there's absolutely no reason for guns to be there.
And before rewatching this, because that's all in the theaters too, before rewatching it, whenever someone would bring it up, first thing that come to mind would be like, wasn't there somebody shooting guns in that movie last time? And there's also that little bit of action, if that's what you call, where Josh Gad's character is trying to escape to who knows? Oh, no, he's trying to burn the papers.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
And I'm like,
a little chase scene there, and look, Kenneth Branagh, your old ass can be jumping and falling all over the place. Come on now, man. What are you doing with yourself?
So yeah, there's no need for the action sequences. There's no need for the guns. There needs to be more Poirot detecting things.
This is the main Batman problem,
right? There's very lack of detectiveness here for this Poirot,
right?
And he doesn't want to take the case initially. He has to be talked into it. That kind of bugged me, because in the first one he's just like, yeah, this is interesting enough, I want to do it.
Yeah, but I kind of liked the weirdness. Like, he just got off a case. I feel like exerting that mental energy, you're worn down, and that gave, for me, a little bit of credibility to his friend, who is introduced as just being a horrible person, knows he's a horrible person, embraces his horribleness, which I like about their whole relationship. But in the end, he was like, you don't take this case, one of two people is going to be implemented.
Right.
The Hispanic dude or the black dude.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
and
really
it's
want
probably
that
going to be the Hispanic dude based solely on his name.
Yeah, and if they don't get that, there's a guy on his skin.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do like that. I do like that character change. Because his name isn't Bianchi. What is it? It's Volk. Volk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that character change. But I just feel like this film is just so somber, and there's no levity to it at all. And I get it. He's trying to make it very serious, but it just comes across as very, like, nobody wanted to be there.
I think some of his quirks were supposed to be
funny
bits of levity, but not like I think I'm remembering this right. Like, Albert Finney's Perot just laughing laughing hysterically at the book he's reading, or
that
is
actually
Kenneth Branagh?
Is Kenneth Branagh, and that's the only quirk that had any lateness to it. And I can't remember what he was reading.
It's a murder mystery, though, isn't it?
I think so.
It's Dickens.
It's Dickens, yes.
Yeah, for some reason he thinks Dickens is hilarious.
He's probably reading Oliver Twist. Stupid kid. Stupid kid can't eat.
But yeah, not a lot of
levity in
humor
Dickens
in this at all.
But it's just very dour. It's just kind of like, even the score, because normally I like Patrick Doyle a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Here, even the score was just kind of,
it's kind of there.
and the murder scene is filmed all like, the camera's moving all over the place.
Yeah.
And there's this tinkly piano music playing. And I'm like, what is going on with the music right now?
Some odd choices.
Yeah. So I was very disappointed.
So you retain your disappointedness.
I retained my disappointedness. I will probably go see Death on the Nile just to see, because that one has a bit more levity to it than Murder on the Orient Express, the book does.
Okay, so hopefully they play that up a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. And they do set that up at the end of this one, because he's called away to the Nile.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the producers saw the dailies and they're like, oh yeah, we can do a sequel.
Yeah,
to this. Yeah. Throw that in.
Can we dye his hair, please, so it matches the damn mustache? That just bothered me. It's like, nobody's hair grows like that. Nobody's hair grows like that.
Apparently, Hercule Poirot's hair grows like that.
When the thing is, in the book, Poirot dyes his hair. For, once he starts going gray, he uses blackening agents in his hair to keep the black. So it's not even book.
Not even book appropriate.
Not even book appropriate.
You hate to see it.
Yeah. So
So you're going with the original on this
I'm
one?
going with the original.
Yeah, the old
Yes.
Lamette version.
Yes. I went through a period where I watched the original like a lot, to the point where I could recite whole swatches of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately, this one doesn't. The Brano version doesn't even come close.
I'll say visually, there's some amazing stuff happening in their vision. And in the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's a nice shot right
Yeah.
there. But when you delve down into the actual movie itself, it ain't quite.
Yeah. I mean, the original takes place almost exclusively in the train.
Yeah.
There's very little outside view. You don't get the city views. You don't get the, the mountain views that they threw in the Brana version. But it works for what it is. It's a close case, very close quarters murder case. So this could have been better.
Forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, definitely.
This could have
been
been with minor tweaks. This would have been very comparable to the '74 version. But it's just, I don't know.
I feel like they blew their wad with the cast list in the first one, because the first one compared to the cast list in this one, I'm like, yeah, you got one or two A raters, and the rest are like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that guy. Whereas the 2017, where you're like, oh, this is like, oh, okay, yeah, you got somebody from Game of Thrones. So actually, there's 2 Game of Thrones people in there.
Yeah.
All right, I guess. Yeah, one of the cast lists is like, oh, dope. And the second one, I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, I'll go see it, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll probably go see Death on the Nile just to see what they do with it. But my expectations are lowered dramatically.
Agreed. So if you wanna go, we can make an evening of it.
We can actually do that one, because I think it's 81 Death on the Nile. Peter Ustinov plays Poirot.
Ustinov, my man.
Yeah, he plays Poirot in a couple movies in the 80s. Death on the Nile and Evil Under the Sun. I think there was a third one and I can't remember, but his Poirot is very different.
Okay. Okay. I haven't seen that original Death on the Nile, or the 81 one.
Yeah, I think it stars Mia Farrow. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if you want to lock that in,
Simon McQuirkendale, Manimals in there. Yes.
Lock that in for our October viewing.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. So Death on the Nile. Yeah, but I'm going with the original on this one.
Likewise. Is it that time?
It is time. It is time. We're going to roll the dice. I'm going to pull up the list on my drive, and I have the dice here. You can hear the dice.
All right. We do have no virtual die here.
No virtual die here.
To possibly screw us in any possible way. We're coming physical. We have put away the unlucky rollerball die.
Yes, that's right. We're going with a green 20 die.
The green 20. And it is
19.
Oh, God.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Sold. I'm a fan of both those movies.
So we're doing the Runamari
and Numi Rapace. Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be interesting, man.
Shout out to Stieg Larsson on this joint. Actually, no, he's dead. We can't have him on.
Yeah, this one is going to be tough because I love David Fincher.
You know what, man? Have you seen the Fincher version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different. We're doing. Is there 3 Girl with the Dragon Tattoos?
No. You're thinking of the Rooney Mara one. Is one that came out.
It's the Fincher.
Yeah, the Fincher. What?
That's the Fincher version. Yeah, because it's Daniel Craig and Rooney Mara.
Yeah, and then we're doing
there's they did. God, who is it? It's not Dragon Tattoo though. It's the 4th book that was not written by Stieg Larsson.
Also heard it wasn't very good.
The 3rd book had problems, but that's because he died before it was edited.
Editor's like, it looks good to me.
Yeah, he basically dropped it off with the editor. It was much like Douglas Adams. He dropped it off with an editor and died a couple weeks later.
Oh,
and so they just published it as is, and that was that one. Yeah, that book was trouble.
Who is in that movie?
The girl
who kicked the hornet's nest. No,
kicked the hornet's nest was the second one. It's not the girl with all the
Girl in the Spider's Web.
Girl in the Spider's Web. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is bugging me.
I'm going to have, Girl in the Spider's Web. Who started?
We got
Come on.
This up.
Sorry, you're probably going to have to.
Oh, I'm keeping
Claire Foy.
Oh, that's the Crown's Claire Foy.
Yes.
Yeah. Whack.
No.
Yeah, so we're going with Numi Rapace. and is it Kate?
Runa Mari.
Runa
Mara. Her sister.
Yes.
Rooney.
Joaquin
Phoenix's girlfriend.
The most intense relationship of all.
Oh my God. I feel so sorry for that child.
Existential life, that child.
That child is going to come out of the womb and go, could somebody please just hand me the cure? I just need to listen to the cure. Or he's going to be like a party clown or something. He's going to grow up to be like sunshine, lollipops.
That kid is, first of all, going to hate the Hollywood system all his life. Like, you fucked my parents up and gave me a horrible life.
He's going to be 3 years old telling the sad story of his Uncle River.
Yeah. Oh, whose birthday
was yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
50 would have been 50.
Would have been 50, man. Great young Indiana Jones.
I'm old.
Next month, we got, you know what? You keep bringing that green dye.
That green dye worked this time.
Twice I've tried to sit down and watch the Swedish trilogy all the way through, and both times my idiot ass watched it 1, 3, 2. And I always start the third one, and I'm like, man, is there a lot happening between 1 and 2 that I don't know about? I'm not a smart man, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching these joints.
Cool. Actually own both of these, so this is going to be easy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel like I might as well because they're both worth owning.
Yeah.
All right, then, cool. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, the August episode of Refried Scene. So we'll be back in September with our dragon tattoos. We need to find us some temporary dragon tattoos.
We do. And then we'll have to take a picture and put it.
Until then, you guys take it easy, be safe, and have a good one.